Right then, welcome back to Howson Versus, and I'm going to be honest with you, there's a very real chance this is Howson Versus TalkSport on a weekly basis. They do my fucking head in, honestly, right? So Manchester United this weekend win 3-0 away at a hostile Goodison Park, where the locals are fuming about what's happened with the Premier League and a 10-point deduction. They've all got Premier League corrupt stuff in, and the atmosphere is an absolute boiling point. And then United pissed on everybody's chips by scoring a, quite frankly, ridiculous goal 3 minutes in, right? Everything I've said so far is completely and utterly factual, right? You can swear on a bibble and all sorts. So, TalkSport must have had a meeting yesterday morning and say, lads, how are we going to make the daily anti-United when they've just won 3-0 and this little fucker's just scored goal of the season? Bring Paul Ince in. And he comes in and he goes, right, let's just start digging out Bruno Fernandes. Roy Keane did it a couple of weeks ago, got loads of clicks. Let's just do the same thing and dig Bruno Fernandes out and say...
Would you have liked Bruno Fernandes to be your captain?
No, I don't think... Listen, I think captains are completely different nowadays. You know, when you talk about the greats, the Brian Robsons and, you know, the Roy Keanes and Patrick Vieira and Tony Adams and people like that, great captains. Standout leaders.
Yeah.
You know, and some people are different.
Is Bruno a leader?
Beckham was a leader by the way he played. He wasn't very talkative, but he was a leader by the way he played.
Right.
I don't know what I see in Fernandes as, is he a leader by the way he plays? Because I feel at the moment he's not playing to the best of his ability. Yes, he scored the win against Fulham, but as far as a leader, you either do it by organisation. When you look at Fernandes, I think sometimes it's just about him. Sometimes
when you look at Fernandes, it's just about him. So it's just about him. This is just about the guy that gave up his penalty to Marcus Rashford who required a goal. It's just about him who plays the ball in for Anthony Martial to get an assist. It's just about him who just put himself about a little bit all game. Honestly, I thought it was one of Bruno Fernandes' better, most understated games. And this is the time you'd choose to dig him out. It's so fucking see-through what you lot are up to. You do me fucking head in. You literally might as well say, here's our 3 anti-United stories. And I know we've already covered this, but let's cover it again. Troy Deeney told us all, you have to make something negative about United. And then he moves on to Garnacho's goal, which, by everybody's estimation, is goal of the season, right? And on one hand, if you want to go, is Rooney's better? Is his better? Genuinely, I don't give a fuck. I saw both of them, and I love the pair of them. And I can love, like, do you know what? Sometimes you have more than one kid. Sometimes one kid's a bit of a dick. But do you know what? You love them both. And that's what these 2 overhead kicks are. Guess what? I love them both. Maybe one at the shin a little bit. Don't care. It was against City. We love them both, right? What does he say about Garnacho's goal?
I always think overhead kicks are quite lucky. I think because you don't know actually where the ball's going to go. You know, you're facing back towards the target. It can go anywhere, couldn't it, Cole? When you think about it.
I always think overhead kicks are quite lucky. Of course it was lucky. Fuck me. It could go anywhere, couldn't it? Yeah, it could. And it could go right in the fucking joint where he put it. Because here's the thing. You look at the way he shapes up, he absolutely meant to put the ball there. Just because you couldn't fucking do it, doesn't mean that Garnacho doesn't do it, or couldn't do it. There's been so many overhead. You played with Mark Hughes. Mark Hughes would rather do a 25-yard volley than tap it in from 6 fucking yards. Don't tell me it's all about luck. If anything, every chance that someone scores is a little bit of percentage, isn't it? Fucking Christ. How are we finding a way to diminish goal of the fucking season? Honestly. Get a motherfucking grip. Meanwhile, Liverpool fans who are just so happy for others to have the limelight, oh, actually, no, they're not. They're like, how can we make this about us? To everything. Liverpool fans have to pull one absolutely fucking forgettable Emre Can sort of bicycle kick, really, and be like, this goal deserves to be talked about more. Oh, what, within the 5 minutes of Garnacho just scoring that goal? Shut the fuck up, getting a C. Right, let's talk Onana. Currently joint top of the clean sheets in the Premier League this weekend. Also, like, ridiculously high save percentage, ridiculously high amount of XG saved against him, like he's saved more than he should have done. Like, he's outperforming his XG. And some people have got a lot to say on this. Chris Sutton, I've got a feeling he's going to be a regular feature on this show. I think he's a downgrade on David De Gea. I really do. I've seen enough of him. This is in October, by the way. Is he better than De Gea with his feet? Probably, only just. Probably. Fucking definitely, mate. Come on, let's be real now. Absolutely fucking definitely. I think his distribution's not looked 10 out of 10 this season, but I also think it matters who he's playing with. And I think as he gets more comfortable and gets the likes of Martinez and Shaw and that back into the team, you're going to see him play football with his feet. But in terms of the shot stopping, anyway, he says, I'm more interested in keeping the ball out the back of the net, and I think he's made a lot of blunders this season, a lot of goalkeeping errors. Now, if you looked at some of the goals we conceded at the start of the season, how many of them were actually even Onana's fault? How many were like deflections 2 yards in front of him? What the fuck do you expect him to do with those? He goes on and says, anyway, I'm not so sure about him. I think Manchester United will make a change. I'm not saying this season, but I think at the end of the season, they may need to upgrade on Onana. Someone needs to upgrade on you, our kid. It's fucking waffle. And then let's end this on something a little bit more positive. Mainoo is fucking class, right? And for me, he's got to be the first name on the team sheet against Galatasaray. And if he's not, we riot. He absolutely ran the show against Everton. And you got to remember, this is his Premier League debut, first start. And it feels like we've been talking about him for months and months and months, because the performances we saw in pre-season were like, oh, fucking hell, they were good, weren't they? And then he's just delivered. He's just walked straight back in and he's absolutely delivered. Here's what he did. 100% tackles won. 83% pass accuracy, 53 touches, 34 out of 41 passes completed, 5 duels won, 3 recoveries, 2 out of 3 dribbles completed, 2 long balls completed, 2 interceptions, 1 clearance, 1 block, and for me, 1 man of the fucking match. He was absolutely class. I see academy players come in and they have that youthful exuberance where they crash about the place, steam into people, fucking muller somebody, yeah? You think of what Garnacho is like, he's a ball of energy. What Marcus Rashford was like on his debut, absolute ball of energy. Even like Mason Greenwood, there was a clinical edge to him, but it was energy and it was excitement and it was taking people on. And you go back to the likes of Wayne Rooney and other debuts that we've had, that's what it was. This is something completely different. It's composure and intelligence personified. He might as well get a smoking jacket on, a little fucking glass of whiskey, a cigar, and cut about the place. Have you seen him run? I don't even know if he can run. He might be slower than Weghorst because I've never seen the guy run. He just walks around the place. Oh, the fucking bollocks you need on you to be able to walk. This is Berbatov in a defensive midfielder's uniform. Absolutely ridiculous. Now, there's been some talk that Mainoo's position and the trajectory that he's on, I'm going to remind everyone, the trajectory that he's on after not even 90 minutes. A little bit wild. That Gareth Southgate is trying to schedule talks with him to convince him to switch his allegiance or confirm his allegiance to England rather than switching his international allegiance to Ghana where he qualifies. There's some people suggesting that the trajectory he's on, he might find himself in the Euro squad. And I actually think that Mainoo, Rice and Bellingham's a bit of a piss-take midfield. And when you think about, well, who else is in his position, realistically? Well, Jordan Henderson, who, if I don't know if you knew, is playing in front of about 15 people out in Saudi Arabia. And Calvin Phillips, who's playing in front of no one because he never gets a game. You actually see that there's a potential. If Gareth Southgate's got any swingers on him, fortunately we know he doesn't, that Mainoo could actually go to the Euros. He could easily gatecrash the Euro squad for England. The problem is, if you've got to go for lunch with Gareth Southgate, mate, you'd be pulling on that fucking Black Stars jersey with an absolute quickness, wouldn't you? And here's the thing. You know you will play for them, for Ghana, and you'll have a good fucking time doing so. Whereas if you play for England, we know how it goes for young United players that go and play for England. It's a big decision to make. You can go sit there and have a fucking sparkling water and a fucking plain ham with old Gareth Southgate if you want, but wouldn't be convincing me. Anyway, subscribe, you fox. See you in a bit.